Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your 13th, I was about to say final, technically it's not the final, it is the season finale, but whatever. DC Stargirl episode review, we're here. It's bittersweet that this is the final episode of the season. I've really been enjoying Stargirl. Of course, did I actually, oh crap, I accidentally hit the, Sorry, I actually hit the mic. The microphone was behind me instead of on my side. Sorry about that. I got to readjust it. Damn. Anyway, so it's bittersweet that this is the end. I still remember we're beginning episode 1. In my mind, it's just like, well, for me, it was like, oh, it's another superhero show. And that was a horrible thing to say. I'll talk more about this when we come back next week with the season 1 review. But honestly, going into season 1, the first episode, Stargirl, I don't know, I was under the impression that, this was just going to be another superhero show that, yes, I am aware we have a ton of superhero shows compared to back in the, let's say, the early, when the 21st century started, we only had Smallville, maybe Birds of Prey, and that was really it. That's all your superhero con. Now we have, tons and tons of them, mostly DC nowadays, since the Marvel ones are shutting down for the upcoming MCU ones. But enough about that. The point I'm trying to make is that when I started Stargirl episode 1, I was withholding my expectations, and I'm rightfully so. I was, because I just didn't really know. Because, I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen a bad superhero show since 2017's Inhumans. I was absolutely positive this was not going to be the case of, this was going to be another bad comic book show. But now, coming here, and now having finished the 13th episode, I am like, Jesus goddamn Christ, this is probably one of the best ones out of the bunch. I know I haven't seen all of them yet. I've seen maybe 80% of them. There's still a good 20% I still haven't even tapped into. But honestly, hands down, now that we're finishing up, this had a very good finish. I'm not going to say it was 100% strong, but it definitely was satisfying enough to this ended the first season journey, and now we can go into any direction when we come back next season. But for right now, this was a satisfying conclusion, and I love the heck out of this. I love this episode, and also I'm going to miss this cast, as we wait till season 2 at some point next year. But anyway, with that being said, let's get down to it. Let's go through the butchered recap. Let me recenter myself, and camera was actually about to fall. I need a new tripod. I really do. Hopefully in between the break. Actually, I'll announce at the end. But anyway, so the episode begins with a flashback to 3 minutes ago. Yeah, literally, it's literally a flashback 3 minutes ago, but this time it's taking place above the ISA headquarters. In the football field, the students are gathering in the field for a fight in progress, which turns out to be Tuba Guy, or at least the son of the principal. As you remember, there was that weird one-hand scene in the last episode where the principal told her son, if you want to deal with a bully, teach him a lesson. Which he does so. Of course, one of the teachers show up to kind of scold him, what are you doing? What would your mother think about this? And he said, my mother told me to do this. I'm pretty sure this was kind of under the assumption things are going to change. If you want to go get it out of the way now, because literally everyone's going to forget about everything before the New America project begins. And then as soon as they're wrapping that up, the satellites from the ISA base start rising up from the ground, which starts to really, and Plan New America is coming to place. We see the streets of Blue Valley, the adults are being frozen. For some reason, majority of the kids are not frozen, especially this one little girl that Icicle passes by over, and Icicle's assuring the girl, don't worry, your dad's gonna be fine. He's just gonna be a better person when he gets out of this trance. But the girl's no, my dad's already good, and Icicle's nah, he's not. And then he just keeps walking away. Meanwhile, back at the actually we didn't get the proper anyway. Pat in the striped suit starts attacking Courtney because he's under the control of Brainwave. The knight Justin is currently stunned by the ray itself, and Yolanda and Rick are trying to get him out of it. And Beth is still trying to deal with the gamblers hacking defensive, and Beth realized what she should do in terms of like trying to deal with the stalemate, and her solution is like, well, if we can't break through the firewall, we can't distract him. Like, let's just divert all of his fortune into charities. So honestly, best way to distract the villain, and also giving good to the people. Honestly, Beth, smart person right there, hands down. That worked, and they realized that the way that apparently there's some earpiece in the ear that like, but that doesn't make any sense because like, okay, I know it's for the ISA member, but how the hell is Courtney and the others and that little girl unable to like, you know, get I don't understand it really, to be honest with you, but Beth and Dr. AI Midnight figure that out, and they try to get that resolved, which is enough. And Courtney's saying some stuff to try to get through to Pat, maybe her. Like, it's the usual cliche, like, person closest to the hero gets brainwashed, starts attacking or starts being off, and the hero has to say some very powerful words they never said before to the person to kind of wake them out of it. Spoilers, it works. Pat stops fighting Courtney and, you know, apologizes to her. And Courtney's actually said some pretty sweet stuff about how, you know, since this whole show started, she's always looked at him as like her real dad, especially after that episode before this two-parter finale where her real dad just basically said, just took her, like, her child heirloom and he's gonna pawn it off for some money. But where do we go from here? The night wakes back up. They just resume towards the main Dragon King area of the base, but no one's there. They regroup with Stargirl and Stripe. They're about to head through the door that's going to head to the machine, but, well, faux Cerebro. I'm going to call it faux Cerebro because, let's be honest, I've seen a lot of memes on the internet. It looks like Cerebro from the X-Men movies. Let's be honest there. Okay, we're good? We're good. Yeah, I'm still not centered. I apologize for that. Also, the beard area is starting to really affect my cheeks, so I don't really feel 100% comfortable. My apologies for that. But anyway, resuming onwards. So while the group is about to head through the door, half of the ISA show up. Icicle, Sportsmaster, Shiva, and Dragon King, they show up, threatening that they won't pass any further. They say like it's not going under JSA again, and the two groups collide with each other. And I'll be honest, I'm such a big fan of when two sides are like just about to clash. I do admit the CGI here is like a little bit wonky. Like, I can tell this is CGI. I can honestly tell this was not practical. And if it was practical, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It just, for me, it looks like to be fake. I have to be honest there. / also, yeah, they just cut back to Beth after this. Like, I was like, oh, come on. Like, you are not going to show us the start of this fight. I mean, come on. I think Beth does something. I don't know what she does. We got a scene with Beth, I know that, but I forgot what happens in that scene. But meanwhile, let's get back to the real fight here. So the JSA are fighting each member individually. Stargirl and Stripe are fighting off Icicle. Wildcat with Shiva. Rick and, Our Man, sorry. My brain's not working today. Our Man and Sportsmaster. And the Knight versus the Dragon King. So, let's just start here. Yeah, Rick and Sportsmaster is just very much of a, it's so weird. Like, we do get some shots with them, but it's like, it's just an offshoot. Like, that fight just doesn't matter. Because Rick is just basically just like still doing the whole brute force method against the tactical skilled Sportsmaster. But because it's the finale, Rick is obviously having some more advantage against him than in their first fight. Yolanda is holding her own against Shiv, being more of an actual opponent towards her this time around. As for Dragon King and the Knight, we're seeing brief bits. Like they have some history together, but we don't get to see much. We don't get to hear much of it. While they were at a stalemate briefly, they opened the door to Cindy, and while Dragon King was about to take down the Knight, Cindy shows up, uses her powers to kill Dragon King. So, I mean, hey, Dragon King's dead! Hooray! So she takes him out. Courtney is fighting Icicle and holding her own much more better than their first battle back in episode 3. Jesus Christ, that was that long ago. But the thing here is that Icicle's not in his like full form yet because he has no reason to hide his identity anymore since, Courtney knows. They both know each other, so there's no reason to hide his / I'm pretty sure this was just story reason, like, okay, we don't want to afford any more CG in this episode. We got enough here. So let's just give a practical reason to why Jordan want to use. And honestly, it does make sense. It does. I completely understand that from a storytelling perspective. And it seems like Courtney and Striper are about to take down Icicle, so she goes to help out the other members, and they all take down the Ice Eight individually. So it seems like they won this battle, but then Solomon Grundy shows up. And I gotta be completely honest, I am so sorry. I was not a fan of this. I'm a fan of the fight, I'm a fan of that, but it's like, I just don't know, like, this was, the design of him was like, and to be fair, but I've only seen him in Arkham City back, like, 9 years ago, so I apologize. I just was not a fan of this, of his design. I know it's like, it is Solomon Grundy. I mean, I think they just achieved that look, but I don't know, like, I wasn't a fan. Like, I can very much tell this is not something that would fit organically in this world. And before you say, like, oh, well, Flash had Gorilla Grodd, I mean, but at least Gorilla Grodd looks mostly realistic in the Flash, and that's produced on a much more faster basis than Stargirl, which I'm pretty sure had many more months in post. Again, it could be COVID, I don't know. I could be wrong, but for me personally, I just wasn't a fan of the design. I wasn't a fan of, like, I feel like they could have taken another month and a half to work on him, in my opinion. But anyway, moving on. He shows up, stops the victory. Of course, obviously, Rick sees him and it's like he wants to go in for the kill, but then Solomon Grundy's like, nope, out of the way. Pat goes in to take care of him with the suit. Also, there was a scene where the gambler is talking to Jordan, like, there's a chance that this might not work, so Jordan goes off on his own to leave the base. Courtney and Yolanda head off ahead to go and tackle on Brainwave, but before they're able to go through the room, Courtney gets attacked by Cindy, so they have their long-awaited, like, proper rematch. Yolanda goes up ahead to the room to go stop Brainwave. I forget anything? Is there anything in between scenes? No. So Courtney fights Yolanda. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. Courtney goes to fight Cindy. There's still, this time it's a much more fair ground, since I'm pretty sure Cindy's just like so super exhausted from everything, you know, being in that cage for, I'm gonna assume, like almost a week. So Courtney manages to beat her. Yolanda's going through to the hallway to get to the machine, but then she sees Henry Jr. again, and I'm like in my head, because we got a scene before where, like, Brainwave's like, you know what, I'm gonna finish this later. Let's go finish off the JSA once and for all. We can finish New America once and for all as well. We see Henry Jr. immediately after that. I'm like, fuck no, this is fake. You can't believe. I don't believe. This ain't no resurrection bullshit. We've seen so much of this in the other shows. And for a second, Yolanda does fall for the act, because I do believe that Yolanda still had some feelings for Henry Jr., or at least some remorse for him. But then she realizes when he's saying a certain sentence, she realizes that no, this isn't him, and she realizes it is the real Brainwave. So she just gashes his throat out, and he starts to die and starts, like, to morph from. And it looked like it was just like, was it just a random Dragon King soldier? But it's like, no, it was the real Brainwave. And, you know, he's on the ground, and Yolanda's saying, like, you made me watch your son die. Now I'm gonna enjoy watching you die. And that was like, oof, that was kind of dark. Like, honestly, that was kind of dark. Courtney shows up, is kind of shocked to see Brainwave dead. And of course, obviously, Courtney's still shocked by it, since, you know, they're supposed to be the good guys, and normally the good guys don't kill. And we're going to see a polar opposite of this in a few moments, but just seeing that, you know, a parallel. But just seeing that moment, it's like, Courtney knows, like, something's wrong here. We don't have time to deal with it now. We'll have time to deal with it next season, but still, this was just, like, something not to... we can't brush this off, but we'll come back to this hopefully in the future. But so the two head over to the machine, and they're shocked to see the satellites, you know, through the ground. Meanwhile, Pat's fairly doing his own, like a robot taking care of, like, this mythical beast. He's doing a pretty damn good job. But eventually, in all terms of robot fashion, Solomon Grundy does somehow get the advantage of him. He manages to corner him. He destroys the suit. And as he's about to kill him, Rick shows up, punches him out, and, you know, so he takes over for the fight. Courtney goes into... She goes in to destroy the satellites instead of, like, obviously, of course, like, if you don't know how to shut it down, just destroy the damn thing, and she's got the power for it. So she destroys all 3 satellites. The kids of the high school are seeing her in action, though I'm pretty sure they don't even know who the fuck is this person. So, but she succeeds. She causes all 3 satellites to go down. Her and Yolanda escape the main area of the machine. But also they hear a transmission since Jordan manages to reach her and Barbara in time to kind of threaten them, like, you have done the worst thing possible to me. I'm going to destroy something, and he destroys the glasses. He destroys the goggles that was with the AI. So, and it was just so painful for me because, like, you know, there was a brief line in between, like, figuring out the how to, like, disrupt the brainwaving, as I'll call it. Beth and the AI shared some very sweet words about how they're best friends, and then all of a sudden Icicle decides to kill him, or at least freezes the goggles so they don't work anymore. So Bev obviously tries to go in to avenge him. She fails epically, and Icicle takes Barbara hostage. Everyone hears, so they all head off. They all head off to go save Barbara. Pat wants to stay and help Rick, but since he has basically no powers, he's like, okay, just go help your wife. Just go. You need to do something this finale. You need to do something. So Rick goes to take care of Solomon Grundy alone, using his 5 remaining minutes. And honestly, if it wasn't for Stripe kicking his ass early, I'm pretty sure Solomon Grundy would have obviously killed Rick had he not been weakened down already. But Rick gets all of his rage out in those 5 minutes to, like, really pulverize him. And he's about to kill him, and he was just about the point, like, he grabbed a huge boulder, a huge rock piece, and was about to kill him in the head, and taken from the School of Thanos. And he was about to kill him, and then Solomon Grundy just reverted to, like, an animal. And it's so weird, because, like, you know, I have to talk to George about this, but I'm not sure if Solomon Grundy does derive from an animal, or he just has feral-like instinct. I don't really know, but basically, when Solomon Grundy kind of knew, like, he could die, he kind of just acted like a sad, like, I don't even want to say sad dog, because, like, I don't think that's an appropriate term, but, like, you see, like, the real, like, animal. You see, like, the real person, and, you know, seeing their moment of weakness shining through, and just seeing his face, which, I'll give it credit. While I might not be a fan of the design, I honestly, kudos to them on this scene. Like, this scene was, like, making Solomon Grundy kind of feel weak, and it's, like, if you really think about it, he's just a soldier. He's just a guard dog. He's not really one to have, like, a conscious mind. And I'm pretty sure he was just given orders, like, kill his parents or just kill these 2 people without any consequence, not with any real ramifications of thinking of, like, oh, maybe down the line their son or their offspring might come back to get me. Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have, like, a mind of his own. I don't know anything about his origins. I really don't know. I don't know. But Rick, being a good person, having a good heart in him, can go along to kill him, and, you know, just screams to let him go. But obviously, of course, it's not going to be like, oh, they're going to adopt Solomon Grundy to the JSA. No, you know, he killed his parents, no matter what. You can't deny that. So obviously, Rick just tells him, get the hell out of here. I never want to see you again. And that's a weird thing. Like, you just basically let over an unstoppable killing machine on the loose. Not Rick's finest plan. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure with this world being very superhero, what was the terminology? A lack of superheroes. A lacking of superheroes. I'm pretty sure there's no one else besides in the state of Nebraska who could take care of Solomon Grundy, but whatever. He lets her go. Courtney and Yolanda meet up with Beth back at the building, and, you know, Beth's still obviously heartbroken over, you know, Chuck's death, the AI, but, you know, they obviously are more aware that Barbara's, you know, being held hostage by Icicle. And Icicle confirming my season-long theory, like, yes, Icicle did have a crush on Barbara. He did want to, like, think of her as, like, a potential second wife. Well, not second wife, like, you know what I mean. But even with that, you know, like, promising, telling her, like, if you just go along with me, we could start our own life. We could be together. We don't even have to, like, worry about our families anymore. And that's kind of insultful. And I don't know. It's just like, that scene just kind of felt like, you know, damn, this guy really doesn't give a fuck about anything. You know, he's willing to sacrifice his own son, his own parents, just to, like, be with this woman that he barely knows. And obviously, thank God, my fear was, like, was Barbara actually considering, like, going along with this? But obviously, he's a madman, but she says, like, no, you're just crazy, you can't do this. And then Pat just shows up being, like, the good husband, you know, trying to, like, get his wife out of the situation. And thankfully, Courtney shows up to go fight Icicle in the true final battle of the season. So those 2 have their fight. Everyone else, all the other JSA regroups in the bottom. So Courtney and Icicle go to fight. Icicle goes into his full, like, ice mode, and, you know, the 2 are kind of, you know, this time in a stalemate. Like, these 2 are really not letting go of each other. They're not letting each other win. And then eventually Courtney manages to overpower the staff to kind of, like, burst, like cause an energy burst. Like, well, sadly, it causes both of them to fall, and almost Barbara, Yolanda thankfully saves Courtney from falling. Barbara's saved by Pat, thankfully, and Icicle lands on the other side on the street, and he's basically like, and his ice facing is like cracked. So, I honestly thought for a moment like this guy's enraged. He's gonna like really like we're gonna get a real final fight between the JSA and Icicle, and then we completely forgot. Pat's son shows up with the dog in the car, and he smashes Icicle with the van, and I'm like, okay, that's how we're gonna end it. I mean, it's kind of funny, but I mean, if it took a team of superheroes, if a whole team of superheroes died to defeat Icicle and the ISA, and a kid in a car manages to defeat him and kill him instead, okay, I mean, they win. It doesn't. I don't really care. They won the battle, so I don't really mind. So, yeah. So you know, the group, Pat and Barbara have a sweet kiss on the roof. Everyone's kind of like doing the victory hug, you know, celebrating that they, you know, they won, you know, it's all over, and, you know, that they saved the day. We cut to later. I don't know if it's the same day or just another day later on. I really don't know. The kids are the new JSA are at the school in the football field standees. Courtney and Rick are having a talk about just recent events. But they also look at Beth, since Beth is obviously, of course, you know, still, you know, saddened that, you know, Chuck's gone. Her AI it's gone. But they're assuring her, like, we're gonna find a way to fix this. Like, we'll get Chuck back somehow. Don't worry about it. Yolanda's kind of like, you know, staring off the distance, like something's wrong with her. Something's clearly wrong with her, but we don't know just anything about that yet. But it turns out the real reason that why they're there is that Justin, the knight, is leaving. His purpose in Blue Valley has been fulfilled. The Dragon King is dead. The ISA is defeated finally. So his mission is complete. So where is he off to now? Well, he's off to go find his horse that presumably is probably dead, but whatever. I mean, unless the horse somehow has immortality too. Okay, kudos to that. And he's off to go find the other 7 soldiers of victory, which I'm pretty sure that means, like, well, there was 8 members. One's dead. Well, is one dead? I'm cutting ahead, sorry. Pat's not a member, and he's there. So there's 5 other soldiers to find, and, you know, Pat just tells him, like, let me know if you find them. Like, I would love to reconnect with them. So Justin goes off, and he bids Stargirl and the others farewell. Hopefully they'll see each other again before in the next battle. I mean, let's not jump ahead here. Like, we just finished one battle. Can we not focus on the next battle till after we celebrate the first one? I mean, come on, Justin, come on. I'm pretty sure this wasn't your first celebration. Come on. So anyway, Pat and Barbara have like a sweet moment together, like just hugging each other. And Pat's just like, I wonder how the news is going to cover this one up. And Barbara's like who? And it turns out, yeah, the government's covering it up. It was just an earthquake. And I'm like, how the hell is a brainwave, like people stopping in the middle of their tracks in town, someone equate to an earthquake? Like, anyway, moving on. What was I going to say? So we get the scene back at the ISA headquarters, which is, I'm confused. Like, why are we back here? Like, the ISA are defeated. Like, well, yeah, we don't know what happened to Sportsmaster or Sheep, or they got knocked out, but I'm pretty sure they got arrested or something. Like, they never really clarified that part, but, yeah, it turns out someone else is in the room. I mean, I thought it was the gambler, but it's like, no, it's like some weird top hag looking guy. I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, who is this guy? And then we turn around to the portrait behind him, and he's fading out the rest of the ISA members until this, like, guy with the goggles appears. Like, oh, shit. He's the guy, like, I forgot to mention this in the Butchered recap. Again, go watch the episodes. Don't listen to me. I am not an accurate representation of the episode, but there was one scene where, in an early episode, I kind of missed, and now that I'm remembering somehow, the Isaiah talking about, like, another member, but they said, like, oh, he betrayed us. Like, you know, he's no longer part of the group. This is the guy. So it's like, fuck. He's still out there. And then we cut to some other place in the middle of somewhere. Some warehouse-looking place. And we see a woman, like, looking for something. It turns out to be Cindy. And she finds this crystal. And she said, hello, there you are, Eclipso. And I swear to God, the only reason why I know of Eclipso is because the new Suicide Squad game is by Rocksteady. Some people are theorizing that Eclipso has some role to do in that game. Is that true? I don't know. I'll figure it out next week, Saturday, during the Fando. Yeah, so that's what happens. And then, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So then we cut to 6 weeks later. It's Christmas time for in Blue Valley. The whole Whitmore Dugan family are still together, thankfully. The other JSA members are there too. They're all just celebrating their first Christmas together, and it's a nice, sweet, affair. Like, you're just seeing everyone just like chill out, hang out, just with no threat to the world. And I'm also clear that as Pat is heading towards the dining area, he sees Courtney coming down the stairs. They have a brief aside where Courtney gives him a personal gift, which is kind of in the similar box shape that I guess the original present had in mind. Or I guess this is the original present where it says world's greatest dad, and fully acknowledging to Courtney again that, like, yeah, Pat is her real dad no matter what. And they have a very sweet hug, and Barbara gets to see it from the distance, knowing that all's well with the world. They all have like a big, family JSA type picture, and Courtney hangs up the picture on her memories wall, and smiling. The staff just shows up. The two go for a ride. Of course, obviously Courtney and her suit. I should mention that. They head to the water tower where Courtney just overlooks Blue Valley in the wintertime. Sorry, I was about to burp there. Sorry. Pat shows up in the striped suit, apparently refixed, fully ready to go for new missions, and the two just fly away as father and daughter, as happy as it can be, as peace, for now, has returned to Blue Valley. And then we cut to California, of all places. Like, oh, so there's another tease for season 2. We see this blue car parking in front of an apartment complex. A man pulls out of it with a backpack, which honestly I assume, like, is this Courtney's father again? I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to deal with this again. The guy goes to knock on the building manager's door, asking where Pat Dugan is. So I was like, okay, it's not him. But then who is it? And then he goes, he knocks on the door. The building manager answers his question, like, no, Pat moved months ago. And the guy's asking, like, oh, where is he right now? And he's like, who are you? And he says, like, my name is Sylvester Pemberley. Otherwise, if you still remember from the pilot, the original Starman, still played by somehow the most still handsome Joe McHale. And that's where we end season 1 of Stargirl. Again, this was honestly this is the finale that honestly, like, they wrapped up everything well and nice. They obviously, of course, like any TV show, they left clues and hints in for season 2. That was to be expected. I feel like the battles were great. I felt some of the CG was still a little bit off-putting for me personally. However, they did the best they could, and I still respect them for doing that. I love where some of the characters ended up in terms of, like, Courtney and Pat now fully being a father-son team. Father-daughter. Oh my god, my head is not really working today, guys. I'm sorry. Father-daughter team. Having that turn out well. Of course, and then on the reverse side, leaving Yolanda of, like, where do we see her from here? Like, she's obviously going to have some sort of, like, effect of being, of killing her first person. Like, how does that affect her going forward? Beth, in terms of, like, not having Chuck anymore, and Rick having some sense of closure in his life. Where do we see him going forward? Do we see a totally different character or stuff like that? I'm curious to see. And, of course, obviously with Shadow and Eclipso and this other Starman, they obviously left a lot of directions for season 2 to go, but honestly, just focus on the main ISA conflict. I felt like they did a pretty decent job of it. They, obviously, again, it's the typical TV show thing where it's like, it's something we really we understood, we got for the flashbacks of the villains, we got it, but at the end of the day, like, it was kind of just like that easy, solution, like, just destroy the satellites and there we go, we saved the day. I mean, yeah, sure, that's typical superhero flair, I understand that, but I don't know, like, this is something that, this has been a battle between two teams that have now spawned 2 generations, and the way that this one ended was, like, kind of anticlimactic, because, yeah, I understood, like, well, the ISA infiltrated the JSA headquarters, and they beat them, and now the new JSA infiltrated the ISA headquarters, and they beat them. I understood it's symbolic justice, I get that. I don't know, like, I was just kind of expecting a little bit more, a little bit. I'm not saying that was a bad show. I still enjoyed the finale through and through, but I don't know, like, it's always that thing of, like, I kind of want a little bit more. Like, I don't know, like, I feel like that's still the same thing that I'm thinking about. Like, I don't know, like, I just don't know. But I still enjoyed the finale. I still really did. And, yeah, I'm sad to see these characters going to go away for a while. But they will be back next year with a second season, so I can't wait to see where that goes. And for me, I give the finale 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed it, and it's sad to see I won't be getting to see a new Stargirl episode next week, but what are you going to do? That's just the nature of television, that there's obviously an end date for now, but they will be back. So again, I think that's going to do it for me. So if you're unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to know what we're doing overall What's on the Tube besides our Stargirl episode reviews, well, we're kind of in a weird spot right now, because right now all of our current run shows have ended airing new episodes, but we're still not done yet. Because on every Saturday, we post a Doom Patrol video. Usually that was supposed to come out after a brand new episode on Thursdays on DC Universe and HBO Max. However, because Doom Patrol Season 2 wrapped up last week, this coming week we're doing, well, tomorrow, we're doing the Season 1 review, both non-spoilers and spoilers. So if you're interested in seeing Doom Patrol, and you're curious on seeing how Season 2 plays out, go watch that review, see how that goes about. And then the week after that, we're going to talk about where I hope to see things in Season 3. And then we also do, we did Perry Mason episode reviews, but that also wrapped up. Coincidentally enough, these shows all wrapped up in like the same week time frame, which honestly was now planned in my books. Like, I just picked these 3 shows because like I have an interest in all of them. I want to go see them, and it's like they just conveniently ended around the same time. There was nothing I could have done. That was way out of my control. But we do Perry Mason episode reviews each and every Monday after Sundays, with a new episode on HBO, but that's already wrapped up. So this coming Monday, we're going to do the Season 1 review. Again, if you're interested in seeing what the hell Perry Mason's about, go check out the Season 1 review. It's going to be both a non-spoiler and a spoilers review. That'll be out next Monday. And then after that, we're going to talk about Season 2, what I hope to see then. And then, but if you don't care about Stargirl, well, this is the end of your episode review. But we'll be back next week with the Season 1 review, where I will talk about, for the first half of the review, how I thought of the season with no spoilers, just general broad strokes, so to speak. So for people who haven't seen Stargirl yet and they're just curious to like, is this worth a binge? You can go check that out next week. As well as we'll continue the conversation I was talking about this season in that Season 1 spoiler half. So check that out if you want to keep that going. And then the week after that, we'll be back for the Season 2 predictions, where I hope to see as the show transitions to the CW, which I have a lot to say. Expect a lot of comments on that episode. And then that will be it for Stargirl for 2020. And ironically, that Season 2 predictions video will be the last What's in the Tube for a while, because I don't know when the slate to the channel is going up. It might be going up either before or after this. I just don't know. My scheduling is horrible. I'm sorry, but there's going to be a slate of the channel, but I might as well announce it here. So the overall show, What's in the Tube, is going on its first scheduled hiatus, which means we are not going to be airing any new episodes at all for, I'm going to roughly say, about 6 weeks, give or take. But, yeah, with that being said, however, we will be back eventually with new stuff to talk about, new shows to review, new episodes to talk about. But that will be later on. I need a break, and I have other stuff to do, so I'm taking a break. So, like any TV show, like Stargirl, like Perry Mason, like Doom Patrol, and like any other show I've reviewed before in the past, it needs a break, and I need a break. I've been reviewing shows. Like, I haven't taken a week off of What's in the Tube. I haven't. I've been literally going straight since late September. I have produced now over 110 episodes of the show. It is a lot. So I need a break. But we will be back. Don't worry about that. If you really like me, you want to see what other shows I'm talking about, there will be more in the future, but there's a lot to catch up on if you're really curious. But again, if you're unaware, that was me rambling a lot. But again, this was What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of What's in the Tube, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube.com. Ring the bell for notifications when the next episode review is live. Like, favorite, share if you want to, but it does help us out in the long run, as well as follow us on social media to be up to date on new videos and just updates on stuff. So if you use Stargazers, I'll see you next week for the Season 1 review. But until then, peace out.